If you like The Daniel Blair Show, you will love Main Event Moto. Come join producer Joe and I at patreon.com/maineventmoto, where we talk Supercross, we talk motocross, and deliver 3 long-form podcasts per week with no commercials. Again, that's patreon.com/maineventmoto, or you can click the link in the bio. Thanks for watching, and enjoy this week's episode of The Daniel Blair Show.
The Daniel Blair Show, sponsored by Motosport.com, Mika Metals, Race Tech, ASV Inventions, and Guts Racing.
So many storylines heading into Southwick, but there can only be 10 lead stories. We start at number 10, Chance Hymas, who made the announcement last week on Instagram, and we all knew it was coming, but it still sucked to see. He's out. First off, knees and shoulders are not like broken legs or collarbones. They don't just heal, they linger. They're more complicated, and the recovery absolutely sucks. I've been through both, 2 femurs and 2 knees, and while the femurs were way more dramatic, the knees were a nightmare and played a way bigger role in how I approached racing. And now Chance has 3 tears before he can drink. That's a pretty big deal for a kid who was showing signs of becoming the next big thing in 250 racing. Now there's a couple good and bads to this situation. He's only 20 years old, which is bad. You're not supposed to be counting major knee surgeries this young. This is his 3rd already, which is pretty gnarly, but the good, he's 20 and young bodies heal, they bounce back, and if this were happening at 30, it's a different conversation. There's also a weird good and bad about which knee it is. It's not the same one that's been done twice already. That's good. It's both now, which is balanced, I guess. That can be seen as bad. One more hit to the same knee, though, and you start getting worried about things long term, not just with race results. Ask Travis Pastrana. You know, I really wanted to see him get things together this summer and go into the 2026 Supercross Championship with some momentum and prove he's the complete package, which I think he is. We haven't seen it yet, and let's be honest, that win in the mud at Foxborough may count in the record books, but it doesn't really count in the court of public opinion. He's had a few flashes, but he's never really shown a finished product. Now the microscope is out, 2026 is the year, and it'll come with way more pressure, and again, way less time to prepare. But there are no more passes for being young. This was year 3, it was supposed to be the breakout year, and now there's a pattern, and patterns are hard to break. But here's what gives me hope. He's shown toughness, he's gritty, he's come back before, and I think he can do it again. But not again. This is it. These types of injuries don't give you 9 lives. Eventually your mind and heart take the hit, and it plays a role in your ability to commit on the bike, and life decisions come with it too. Ask Travis Pastrana. His career, his entire trajectory was changed because of knees. This injury for Chance is not just about healing, it's about turning the corner, and I really hope he can. Speaking of injuries, lead story number 9 is a couple of names that have quietly disappeared from the lineup this summer, and it's kind of weird when you look back to the month of February. I'm talking Max Anstie, Dax Bennick, and Cameron McAdoo. All 3 are gone from the gate this summer, which again is weird when you look back to February. Round 1 of 250 East Coast Supercross this year in Tampa, your podium, Max Anstie, Dax Bennick, and Cameron McAdoo. That's the story of this sport sometimes. And just a reminder that Supercross and Motocross are not the same sport. Supercross is a fresh start. Everyone comes in healthy, hungry, the lights come on, the gate drops, and everything explodes. But once we shift to Motocross, it's not the same. It's not a real reset. It's a continuation from the winter where some come in riding a wave, others are patching things up, and some are just gone. And that's where we're at with Max, Dax, and Cam. All 3 on the box in February, and now watching from the sidelines in June. That's how things flip, and how fast you can be forgotten. An update and a reminder for everyone, McAdoo's was a knee, like Chance. Not the first, and like Chance, 2026 Supercross is big. He's no longer a youngster, not with the Jujus and Davies types coming up, and it's the final year of his contract. Huge year coming. Anstie's broken leg was supposed to be a little bit more straightforward, but the recovery has been complicated and longer than expected. He has title potential again next year. Don't forget, he was 1 point out of the lead in Supercross when he went down in Birmingham. And with Dax, we've seen the flashes. Grabbing podiums at the opener 2 years in a row is legit. But something always seems to creep in, things that bleed from Supercross into Motocross. I think he'll be back soon. He's not totally off the radar, and I believe he's got options moving forward. We'll talk more about that later in the episode. Just like last week when I went off about the stupid qualifying format, I've got another one. Lead story number 8 might not be super popular with the teams, but I'm going to say it anyways, because I'm pretty sure the fans feel the same way that I do. Metal start grates suck. They suck and are stupid, straight up, and are one of the worst additions to the sport in the last 20 years. The grates have completely taken away one of the sport's most technical and underrated skills, the art of the start. The first 30 seconds of a moto control the next 30 minutes, and we've removed the one thing that used to make that part of the sport so unique: traction. Every track has different dirt, different moisture, a different feel. Even Moto 1 and 2 are different, and a great starter knows how to read it, how to adjust the throttle, the clutch release, his seat position, and has to time it all perfectly. That's 4 variables working in perfect sync. That's talent and calculation. And now 2 of the 4 are gone because with metal grates and modern electronics, it's all pre-programmed. Throttle mapping and launch control make the bikes basically start themselves, and the only thing left is clutch release and timing. It's not a skill anymore. It's an execution of sequence, figure it out like a robot, and go. That's lame. And that's not even the end of it. Gate pick means less now too, because every rut is the exact same. Oh wait, there's no ruts. It's metal in a dirt sport. It's also faster into the first turn, which is more dangerous. Thought safety matters. Also, you need a truck to haul the grates around, which means it's more expensive. Oh wait, they're listening. Pull out that calculator. Honestly, name one benefit. I can't think of one, not a single one. So yeah, snap your fingers, bring back the dirt starts. I want to see these guys have to feel the ground and react to it. Let talent matter again. Next weekend in France is the Mini Motocross of Nation. It's actually called the Junior FIM World Championship, and it's lead story number 7. The race happens every year, and pretty much no one talks about it. A handful of young American racers get on planes, head overseas, and fly the flag for the US motocross scene. Honestly, our kids tend to struggle, riding stock bikes on weird tracks, and it's usually their first time overseas, away from home and Chick-fil-A, and it shows in the results. But every year we go, and these kids line up and give it everything they've got, so I wanted to take a second to give them some love. On 125s, we've got Tristan Pruitt and Brady Olson. Both are legit contenders to win the Schoolboy 1 class at Loretta's this summer. Olson is a Club MX kid who I also help manage through my Supercross U program. This is by far the toughest class at this race due to the importance of mod 125s, which our kids don't get. On 85s, we're sending the strongest group we've had in years. Colt Martin is another club kid. He's joined by Gage Brown, Jackson Vick, Maddox Timmerman, and Easton Graves. All of them racing the AMA 13 class, which is one of the deeper amateur classes we have right now. They've all had strong seasons and strong Loretta regionals, and I believe this group has the talent to really make a run at it in France. At least that's my expectation. In the 65 class, it's Cannon Zabenik, Levi Geis, and Raycin Kyler. All 3 are on Cobras, which is a pretty cool detail. You don't always see that overseas. And who is Raycin Kyler, you may be asking? Well, she just won her Loretta's regional against the boys, straight up, and it's a sign of a real shift happening in amateur racing right now. There's a wave coming. Names like Mayla Herrick, Hannah Jameson, and Yamina Baring, all young girls racing with the boys and beating them. It started with Lala Turner, who, if you watch Thunder Valley, won the WMX Moto on Peacock. Lala's raised the bar in recent years for what girls can do in this sport, and she won't be the last to grab this type of attention from the sports media and fans. So yeah, the Mini Motocross of Nations doesn't get much attention, but it should, because this is the next generation. They're not just going to France, they're repping all of us, so I want to give them a little spotlight. Good luck, Team USA. Lead story number 6 is Cooper Webb, Justin Cooper, and Aaron Plessinger. And with the SMX playoff format, seeding matters now, and your position going in can actually impact how your championship plays out. Not a lot in reality because of the double points at the finale, but enough that it's worth fighting for. Honestly, they should sweeten the deal a little bit. If you're top 3 in combined points across Supercross and Motocross, that should come with a bonus or an award, something. Just make it mean more than just seeding. But right now, Coop is racing outdoors largely because of this reason. He's currently sitting number 1 in combined points, but J Coop and AP are creeping. And based on how it's trending, Webb's probably going to get passed by both of them before we hit the playoffs. That would be pretty wild. Imagine this. All the firepower in the sport, Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, Jett Lawrence, Ken Roczen, Hunter Lawrence, Justin Barcia, Jason Anderson, and Cooper Webb, it could be Justin Cooper and Aaron Plessinger going into the playoffs as the number 1 and number 2 seeds. That's pretty badass. You know, before the permanent number system was created, overall points mattered even more. In the good old days, rider numbers reset every year based on points. The champs got number 1, and then from there it was a clean slate. Whoever finished second in points across Supercross and Motocross was number 2. Third was number 3, fourth was number 4, and so on. Under that old school system, Webb, J. Coop, and AP would be battling right now for those low numbers next season. I'm not saying that I like the old system better. I understand the reason behind permanent career numbers, but it's still pretty cool to look at to see who is actually having the best season outside of the champs. Regionals are all wrapped up. The road to Loretta's is set, and lead story number 5 is the A-Class at the Ranch, which is always one of the biggest draws, even more now that the SMX Next Futures and Combines have made these riders household names for the hardcore fans. This year, the A-Class looks a little different, and there's been some recent movement. The Pittsburgh SMX Futures champ Alexander Fedorstov moved up into the pros at Paula. Cade Manier, who won the Hangtown SMX Combine, moved up too. No surprise, both were ready. At the top of the class right now, it's Landon Gordon, who had 2 Supercross main event wins and is apparently committed to star racing for 2026. He's been good all year, and a win at Loretta's would be a major statement on the way out. Enzo Timmerman won the Birmingham Futures round, then went straight into the pro ranks at the first 2 outdoor nationals and was pretty dang good. He's dropping back into amateur racing for one last swing at Loretta's and is one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to win it. The Loretta rule is debatable and does need to be looked at for possible change since we have 3 combines now. We need 5, by the way, and 7 futures. Just saying. Cade Johnson is another name who could win it. He won the Muddy Main at Foxborough and has been pretty solid all year. You don't hear his name as loudly, but he's got the speed and the consistency to be a threat, as do Liam Olaf, Luke Fauser, Landon Hartz, and Clark Robbins, who are all capable of moto wins at the ranch. One of the other favorites in the class is Landon Gibson. He finished second to Manier at the Hangtown Combine and is seen as one of the next big things coming out of amateurs. And then there's Caden Dudney. Honestly, he would have been my clear favorite this year after winning 5 of 6 motos at Loretta's last year in the B class, where he broke the track record while doing it. But he's out due to injury and won't be racing Loretta's. The plan now, I've heard, is to turn pro at maybe Unadilla or Budds Creek to grandfather in before the new AMA rule raises the pro age to 17 next year. He turns 16 in August, and if everything stays on track, he'll line up with the big boys here soon. Silly Season Talk brings you lead story number 4. First, it was Chase Sexton holding everything up in the 450 class. Then for about 5 minutes, it was Eli Tomac. Now, we're waiting on Ducati and Jason Anderson and Justin Barcia. That'll wrap up the 450 talks, but over in the 250s, it's not much clearer. Now it's Honda and Pro Circuit Kawasaki holding things up, specifically Joe Shimoda and Garrett Marchbanks, and that logjam is quietly affecting the next wave, Daxton Bennick and Casey Cochran. Like what we saw with Sexton in the 450s, once Joe is figured out, the rest will fall in line pretty quickly. Right now, Honda holds the cards. Do they keep Joe or move on? With Chance Hymas injured again, you'd think they'd stay the course and take the third-year option. But I've heard the price tag is high, and honestly, the results haven't quite matched the investment. When you look at who's making things happen indoors, it's names like Seth Hamaker, Juju Beaumare, and Cole Davies, and it's hard to call Joe a title favorite on either coast next year. He's proven to not be the guy, and that's tough when you're talking big money. Then there's Pro Circuit. Word is Mitch is interested in bringing Joe back, and if we look back in time, he was good there. But so is Garrett Marchbanks, who already came back and has done everything right this season. 2 Supercross podiums, super solid outdoors, and if the points hold, he'll be running the number 10 next year. Weird to think he may be out, but if Joe goes back to PC, somebody's out. Drew Adams is no longer a part-timer, he's locked in for next year. If you're Garrett, you're probably wondering how 2 podiums indoors and being the best on the team outdoors doesn't lock you in. I'd be kind of pissed. Meanwhile, Bennick and Cochran are kind of in limbo too, at least publicly. Unless, of course, privately they've had their deals done. Word is, both have been looked at, considered, or talked to by Star, Husky, and Triumph. All 3, and all 3 make sense. Star, they do whatever they want. There's no pattern, they just do. Husky, or Gas maybe, seem more stable now, and we've even heard Joe connected there. Triumph, they're in this too. With Jordan Smith moving up to the 450s and Mikhail Harup's future undecided, they're shopping. Dax or Casey would actually fit pretty nicely next to Jalek Swoll and Austin Forkner. And just for fun, let's say Honda does let Joe walk. Do they sign Dax or Casey? Do they want another young rider in that spot next to Chance? And why haven't we heard Garrett or Joe linked to Star? Is Bobby losing his mojo? What about Kaida Wolf to PC, or Honda, or Star? Where's Michael Mosman going? Is he going anywhere? What about the chatter of a rule change that might allow guys like Joey Savacci and Shane McElrath to return to the 250 class? That would piss some people off pretty bad. Here's a wild one. Adam Cincerulo is technically eligible for 250s. I've looked it up, and I've even mentioned it to him a couple times. Call me back, Adam. It's a little messy right now, but it's kind of fun too. There's movement coming, and when the first domino falls, Joe Shimoda, I think it's going to go fast. Lead story number 3 is World Supercross, which is back in the mix. They've made a little noise online in recent weeks, and it's time to start paying attention to the series that is right around the corner. 5 races on 5 continents, and honestly, the schedule is pretty rad. They're hitting new markets this year: Malaysia, Argentina, and South Africa, plus Australia and Vancouver again, but it's those first 3 that really stand out. Fresh turf, places that have never hosted Supercross like this, and it's a pretty big deal. What's really interesting, and I had to double check this, is that almost all these rounds are in outdoor venues in the Southern Hemisphere. So yeah, it's technically fall here when the season starts in October, but it'll be late spring, early summer down there. Warm weather, packed stadiums, new fans, all during the off-season. They've also got a new logo, and they've started posting old races and clips, probably trying to build the algorithm back up while we wait on rider announcements. But that's the thing, we're still waiting. No big names officially locked in yet, and that's likely not by choice. Silly season is going late this year, which plays a role, and my guess is they're holding out for Eli Tomac and Ken Roczen, but will most likely get Jason Anderson and Justin Barcia this year to go along with Vince Friese. Can you imagine what that would look like? But once those guys land somewhere, if they land in World Supercross with it, everything else will move pretty quick. So far, we know Justin Hill is racing, and I'm pretty sure Joey Savacci, Shane McElrath, Cody Schock, and Enzo Lopes are locked in too. It's still early, but the clock is ticking. The schedule is cool. I like the new team concept, and if they land a couple big names again, I think the series has the structure and the people in place to move forward on solid ground. This weekend is the Southwick National. It's lead story number 2, and it's one of my favorite races to watch, not race. It's an outlier track on the schedule. The deepish sand makes it tougher than the rest, but with a week off, riders actually get a chance to dial in for the specialty race, kind of like Daytona in Supercross. If you look back to last year, a few things stick out. Jett lost a moto to Chase Sexton, who was back on the bike according to his Instagram, but isn't racing this weekend for some reason, or maybe he will. I wonder if the media will ask him that question when he does return. A simple question I'd ask him in the press conference if I was there would be, what did you actually hurt at Paula? Why did it take so long to come back? You've been on the bike since before High Point. Why were you not racing sooner? And why has Redbud always been the target date to come back, designated way in advance for an injury called banged up? Simple question, and maybe it's just me, but banged up seems to have a weird timeline for return. Last year in the 250s, Joe Shimoda got a moto win, going 9-1 on the day for 3rd overall. Tom Vial was 2nd at the same track he won as a rookie, but of course the Deegs won the overall and had one of the raddest moments of the season in his first lap pass to the lead. This year, I'll go Danger Dude with a 1-1 in the 250s and an epic brawl between Jett and Eli in the 450s. I think we're finally going to get what we've been waiting for. Jett Lawrence is lead story number 1, and the truth is numbers don't always tell the whole story, but they don't lie either. They're facts. Somewhat undeniable, but facts still need context, right? Who you race matters. A depleted field versus the deepest lineup ever affects the numbers. Then there's the bikes. 2 strokes versus 4 strokes. Carburetors versus EFI. Truth is, the sport's evolved so much that it's never apples to apples, but it's still fun to compare. So today, we're gonna try. We'll break down championships, wins, and podiums through the first 2450 motocross races of a rider's career, going as far back as Ricky Carmichael. For you old bulls out there, I ain't going back further than that. Not because there's no history, but because these segments are brutal to put together, okay? I'm sorry. But we'll look at where Jett Lawrence stacks up against some of the best to ever do it, and when you look at Jett's 450 motocross record so far, it's ridiculous. He won the title in his perfect rookie season and has won 19 of his first 20 overalls, with 19 out of 20 podiums. The only miss was the crash at Hangtown last year. Without it, he'd be a perfect 20 for 20 in wins and podiums. That's absurd. Now let's take a look into the past. We'll start with Eli Tomac, who had 5 wins in his first 20 with 17 podiums. Pretty solid for the 4-time champ. How about Ken Roczen, who won the title his rookie year like Jett, had 6 wins and 15 podiums in his first 20. Solid. Ryan Dungey also won the championship as a rookie like Jett and Kenny. He had 14 wins in his first 20 with 17 podiums. He actually had a rough debut, then won 9 straight in his first season. I totally forgot how dominant that stretch was. Ryan Villapoto had 6 wins in his first 20 with 19 podiums. He only missed 1, his second race at Hangtown, where he DNF'd with a knee injury. Other than that, he never missed the podium in 20 tries. Now to the 2 who have perfect seasons to their names like Jett. James Stewart, only 3 wins in his first 20 with 12 podiums. But remember what I said in the beginning of the segment, who you race matters. He was racing RC during his first 20, the greatest motocross racer ever, and nobody had it tougher in terms of competition than James did. RC won the championship his rookie season as well, and had 13 wins and 17 podiums in his first 20. So here's how it looks through 20 races. Championship as a rookie, Jett, Kenny, the Dunge, and RC. The most wins, Jett with 19, Dungey with 14, and RC with 13. The most podiums, Jett and RV with 19, and Dungey and RC with 17. In conclusion, Jett's not just winning, he's doing it at a rate we've never seen before. You can debate the field, the format, and the era, but when it comes to the numbers, Donuts is number 1. And we'll see you next week.
Main event motomerch.com. Main event motomerch.com. Main event motomerch.com.